Most megacities in the US, or cities with more than 1 million people, tend to lean liberal. However, that doesn't mean that there aren't any conservative cities in the US. Whether you're looking to move to or away from one of these cities, or are just curious to learn more, today we're going to look at the 10 most conservative cities in the US. Number 10. Colorado Springs, Colorado. I know, when you think of Colorado, you probably think liberal, and that makes sense because Colorado has recently been a consistently blue state. But that doesn't hold true for everywhere in Colorado, and Colorado Springs might be the best example of this. This city of about 470,000 has been on several lists of the most conservative cities in the US, and that's because over 55% of its population lean Republican. A big reason for this is that the U.S. Air Force Academy, with approximately 4,000 undergraduates, is located here, contributing to the city's conservative population. Other traditional conservative values are also at play here, including an orientation towards family and friendliness towards small businesses. In fact, WalletHub recently named Colorado Springs the 9th best large city to start a business in the U.S. due to its affordable office space, relatively low corporate taxes, and strong job growth. Number 9. Jacksonville, Florida. Florida has long been a red state, and as a result, there are lots of conservative cities here. But we couldn't feature all of them, so we chose the one we analyzed to be the most representative of conservative values, Jacksonville. With a population of over 900,000, this is easily the largest city on our list, and with over 50% of its population leaning Republican, it makes sense why it's a conservative city. There are a couple of reasons for this. One, there's a strong military culture here, with 2 naval bases located just outside of the city limits. Secondly, Jacksonville has been known to be welcoming towards business owners and investors alike. In recent years, it ranked second in the nation for having a favorable small business economic sentiment, according to Thumbtack. Jacksonville has, among other incentives, a favorable tax structure for those looking to establish a business here. Number 8. Lafayette, Louisiana. Did you know that in 2020, almost 65% of voters in Lafayette voted Republican? With a population of a little under 130,000 and a median age of 36.4, that comes to a lot of conservative votes. That's a little surprising given that Lafayette is a college town with 3 major centers of education here. There's the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, which had 13,700 undergraduates in 2021, South Louisiana Community College with a little under 6,000 students, and Infinity College with only about 300 students. So, why is that surprising? Well, college towns are typically left-leaning due to the ideology of students, but either the students in Lafayette are conservative themselves or they just aren't able to break through the hardcore conservatism of this city. Either way, this place is a magnet for conservative values. But no matter your political leanings, residents of Lafayette will probably offer you plenty of Southern hospitality regardless. In 2014, this city was named the happiest city in America by USA Today, given its friendly people and vibrant restaurant and entertainment scene. Number 7. Knoxville, Tennessee. Like Lafayette, Knoxville is also a college town, with the University of Tennessee a major presence here. But this city of about 192,000 seems like more of a mecca for conservative values than a left-leaning university town, at least when it comes to its townies. Just look at the 2020 presidential election, in which 64% of voters went Republican. However, like many cities, its downtown does tend to be more liberal, with centers of conservatism growing more prominent the further you get from the city center. And those centers of conservatism are typically made up of older, home-owning residents. The median age here is 32.9, and 46.9% of residents own as opposed to renting. It's also considered a family-friendly place, with plenty of kid-friendly activities around the city. Surprisingly, what might be another major draw for conservatives to move here comes not so much from the city of Knoxville itself, but from the state of Tennessee. Any guesses? The answer: Tennessee, like Texas, has no state income tax. If that's not a draw for conservatives, I don't know what is. Number 6. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Remember when we said that in recent years, Jacksonville, Florida ranked second in the nation for having a favorable small business economic sentiment, according to Thumbtack? Well, guess who was number 1? Yep, good old Oklahoma City. The city is incredibly supportive of small businesses and entrepreneurship in general. In fact, it was ranked the 12th best city for startups among the U.S.'s largest metro areas by Real Estate Witch. That's due to Oklahoma City's low corporate tax rate, low incorporation fees, and employee affordability. I know there's got to be more than Oklahoma City's friendliness towards entrepreneurs that makes it a conservative hotspot. And there is. Like, for instance, the fact that the city has voted Republican in presidential elections for the past 40 years. Or that of this city of over 680,000, over half of residents are Republican. Number 5. Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tulsa frequently pops up on many of the lists of the most conservative cities in the U.S., and in looking at it, it's not hard to see why. As Oklahoma's second largest city with a population of about 411,000, it leans pretty red, with 56.5% of voters casting Republican ballots in the last presidential election. I know that's not as much as places like Knoxville, but it's still significant, and you'll see why when you hear Tulsa's unofficial nickname, the oil capital of the world. But Tulsa is also known as a haven for conservatives due to its entrepreneur-friendly atmosphere. For instance, there are loads of small business grants with the goal of incentivizing entrepreneurship in Tulsa. Plus, its low unemployment, affordable cost of living, and relatively low state income tax makes it an ideal city for those leaning red. Number 4. Burleson, Texas. It probably comes as no surprise that Texas is on our list. With no state income tax, no corporate state income tax, and loose gun laws, Texas has been a draw for conservatives for years. And despite Texas's major metropolis areas like Dallas and Austin leaning pretty liberal, there are smaller cities in Texas that are conservative. That brings us to Burleson. This suburb of Fort Worth has a population of about 50,000 and has voted Republican for president since 1980. I'll help you out with the math. That's 11 presidential elections. In the 2016 election, for instance, almost 50% of Republicans in the area voted for Ted Cruz. And like any Republican stronghold, Burleson has a commitment towards traditional conservative values, especially family. Public schools in Burleson are strong, and the city is generally very family-oriented. There was a little bit of controversy in Burleson in 2015 when its mayor came out in favor of marriage equality. However, that might not be as big of a deal as it seems, as a 2021 Gallup poll found that most Republicans, approximately 55%, actually support marriage equality. Number 3. Bullhead City, Arizona. While there are very blue pockets in Arizona, Bullhead City is not one of them. With its population of a little over 40,000, Bullhead City might be small, but its conservative presence is mighty. In fact, 65% of voters here are registered Republicans, and the only Democrat to win in this city within the past 40 years was Bill Clinton in 1996. Given its median age of 51.6, the right-leaning nature of Bullhead City shouldn't come as a big surprise, as older populations often lean more conservative. Unlike some of the other cities on our list, though, Bullhead City doesn't have a ton going on if you're looking for traditionally urban amenities. In fact, given its small size, older population, and location smack dab in the middle of the Mojave Desert, this is a place better suited to those looking for a quieter way of life around like-minded people. But if residents of Bull City ever were to get bored, Las Vegas is just a short hour-and-a-half drive away. Number 2. The Woodlands, Texas. We've talked about the Woodlands on our channel before, as it made our list of top places to live in America. Niche even ranked it as the best city to live in America 2 years in a row. And while its community and family-oriented spirit makes it a great place for anyone to live, it's been a big draw for conservatives. That's in part due to its location in Texas, which we mentioned has no income taxes and no corporate state income tax, making it a magnet for conservatives who value limited government. And the city of the Woodlands itself is made up of a heavily conservative population with 71% voting Republican in the last presidential election. With a median age of 40.4 years, that's not a huge surprise. What might be a little surprising is the Woodlands' commitment to sustainability given its red nature. In fact, the Woodlands was designed to be a self-sustaining ecosystem, according to its founder, with its commitment to open spaces, water conservation, and more. Number 1. Alabaster, Alabama. This city is one of the most traditionally conservative cities on our list. That's not only because 75% of its registered voters self-identify as Republican, but also because its approximately 33,000 residents have voted for a conservative candidate in every presidential election since 1980. That's over 40 years. And as you can imagine, other traditionally conservative principles are also highly valued here. The city is strongly for the Second Amendment, as seen when they advocated for guns to be allowed in polling places in 2014. In addition, Alabaster's pro-business policies make it easy for new businesses to open up shop. The city also values access to nature, with lots of local parks and hiking trails, and is very family-friendly. What about the best cities to live in America? Watch that video right here.